Hello everyone. I'm also excited today, and I'm very excited to present you my favorite shells. Emblems from a faraway sea, function and distribution of Red Sea and Nile River mollusk shells in the Iron Age 2 southern Levant. Mollusk shells started to appear in archaeological sites in southern Levant in the Paleolithic period as food and personal ornaments. During different historical periods, shells were included in trade and exchange systems, and in various aspects of pottery and textile dye production. The choice of mollusk shells changed over time as a function of their intended use. During the Iron Age 2, shells are regularly found in archaeological sites. Today I will present only the 5 most common shells from faraway sources: the Red Sea and the Nile River. Let's get to know them. The cowrie is the name of mollusks that inhabit the Indo-Pacific region. They are characterized by coarse teeth and golden ring that encircles the dorsum. Lambis is a large mollusk whose size can reach 40 centimeters. Tridacna is also a very large bivalve that grows up to 40-45 centimeters. Pinctada is a bivalve that inhabits the Indo-Pacific and has an nacreous shell. The Nilotic mother of pearl Chambardia is the only important freshwater mollusk from the Nile River and has an nacreous shell as well. Most marine mollusks live in shallow waters on reef flats or on sandy bottoms near coral reefs. I recently studied almost 500 shells that were imported to the southern Levant from the Indo-Pacific region and Egypt during the Iron Age 2. 92% of them are marine species, and 72 are cowries. Giant shells of lambis and tridacna form about 1/7 of the total. But this is just a general trend, while looking at the details reveal a more complicated picture. Here you can see the general distribution of imported shells at sites from north to south. Not surprisingly, the sites situated in the Negev and the Rava have accumulated the biggest assemblages of Red Sea shells, being close to the source, while Judean sites like City of David and Lachish have fewer imported shells. Tel Aviv, further north, seems to have been a center of shell import. I have looked separately at assemblages from Iron Age to A, to B, and to C. In the Iron Age to A, the 3 cities that have the biggest amount of imported shells are Tel Aviv, Lachish, and Kadesh Barnea. Tel Aviv, which was at the peak of its economic development, yielded 39 cowrie shells and mother of pearl. Cowrie shells form more than half of the assemblage of Kadesh Barnea. They are also represented at Lachish and the other sites except for Arad. All 3 sites contain the Nilotic Chambardia. The City of David has a small but diverse assemblage that includes cowries, lambis, and both nacreous species. In the Iron Age to B, the picture changes. The only big assemblage was found in Kadesh Barnea, and the other assemblages are small, yet diverse. Shells still appear on the northern sides, possibly reflecting political changes and the detriment of the northern kingdom. Cowrie shells and fragments of Nilotic Chambardia appear almost everywhere. One shell disc made of lambis was found in Hatzor in stratum 5. The big assemblage of Kadesh Barnea suggests that trade routes have changed and the shell import was limited to the south. In the Iron Age to C, the number of sites with shell increased and assemblages are larger. We can see that imported shells were discovered mostly in southern sites, in the territory that was partly occupied by the Edomites. Horvat Kitmit, Togilan, and Dumel Yara have significant amounts of shells and the cowries dominate the assemblages. Cowrie shells are present in every site without exception. Lambis and tridacna are dominant, and some are modified. Kadesh Barnea keeps having one of the largest assemblages of these species. Here I summarized changes through time, and now I will discuss their function. The preliminary statistical analysis shows that cowrie shells are the biggest part of the assemblages throughout the Iron Age in all subperiods. The shells occur on the sites both as modified objects and unmodified ones. According to Daniela Borisev, unmodified cowrie shells may have been used as currency. Amir Galani, that there was a workshop for bead making at Kadesh Barnea. Artificially abraded cowries with removed dorsa are common in archaeological assemblages. Occasionally they were found in burials, but mostly they were discovered in domestic or public contexts. At Horvat Kipmeet, cowries were depicted as decoration of clothing on an anthropomorphic vessel. Shells of the large mollusk of Tridacna and Lambis were mostly used for making prestigious objects. Among them are discs and containers that may have served as cosmetic palettes and maybe lamps that were decorated by engravings. The most common modification for Tridacna shells is the removal of the natural scales. One of the best known Tridacna objects was found in Tel Aviv. It was carved and the valve is decorated with lotus flower motifs. Similar lotus flower motifs has also been carved in Lambis discs, taken from the body whorl of the shell. These discs and containers and palettes were discovered mostly in the domestic context, probably belonging to the local elites. Some were decorated with concentric decorations. Nacreous bivalves were a noticeable component of the shell assemblages in the Iron Age, with Chambardia and Pinctada often appearing together. The use of nacreous shells is typical for the Iron Age too, with the nilotic shell prevailing over the Red Sea species. In the Iron Age to be, only Chambardia appears on the sites to the north of Kadesh Barnea. During the Iron Age to C, both species appear as well, but in relatively small quantities. In most cases, we find only fragments resulting from the production process, which makes their identification problematic. Therefore, they are often published as mother of pearl without naming the species. Nacreous shells were used as beads and pendants, as well as in lace, but those were probably taken away from the sites and used elsewhere. Of special interest is a unique nacreous artifact that was made into an amulet and discovered in Tel Hadid in the Iron Age 2C context. It is one of the kind that might be the topic of separate lecture. To conclude, the relative frequency of imported shells indicates the changes in trade routes during the Iron 2B and their development during the Iron 2C. There were centers of shell import like Tel Aviv in the Iron Age 2A and Kadesh Barnea. In the city of David, there always were small but diverse shell assemblages. The use of cowrie shells was growing during the Iron Age 2. In the Iron Age 2C, they were used more than in the Edomite territories. The use of prestigious objects made of decorated giant shells is typical of the Iron Age 2C, probably resulting from the growth of the economy. Thank you for your attention.